Today's episode of the Kim Jacobs Show. Listen, we have a great show lined up for you. I'm your host, Kim Jacobs, better known as the Balance Doctor. And all of our guests that come on, they're either people that have overcome some tremendous odds in their own lives as they balance this thing called life, or they're experts and they're here to share tips and strategies that will help you better balance and manage your life. Grab your virtual seats and let's get ready for some real, relevant, and relatable content on today's episode of the Kim Jacobs Show. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Kim Jacobs Show, where we're bringing balance to the world, one household at a time. How are you over there, Mr. Willy?
I'm good. Thank you, Kim, for having me. Happy Thursday.
Thank you for being here. And we're so glad. Where are you from? Where are you located?
I am in Toronto, Canada. So up north, yo.
How is the weather there in Toronto?
It's surprisingly, December was so warm. Past January, we started getting snow and going below zero. We use Celsius here, so I will have to convert into Fahrenheit. But it has been not so cold lately, but we had some snow, so we're enjoying.
Oh, so a nice mixture, some nice balance as we talk about balancing things. You don't want it to be cold, but you want it to be cold enough where you can enjoy the fact that it is cold, right? Enjoy some of the stuff.
Indeed, my girls were complaining around Christmas that we didn't have snow, so they didn't really feel like Christmas, but it didn't bother me. I was okay. So now they have some snow to enjoy. Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you're enjoying your weather there. And also, listen, if you're watching and grabbing your virtual seats, let us know where you're visiting in from as well. In the studio audience, we'd love to pop your comments up throughout today's broadcast. And that's what the show is all about, being able to bring maybe like a missing piece of a puzzle that may be missing in your household in some regard. Guess what? We bring people on that share their backstories. They share their trials, tribulations, things that they balance and manage, and how they manage this thing called life, right? So today we have with us Willy Gakunzi, right? Am I saying it right?
You did a good job.
Yes, okay. Gakunzi. And so I want to make sure that we take a moment just to let you all know who he is. He is a devoted father to his beautiful daughters, Kayla and Shayna, and he has a remarkable life journey that began in the Democratic Republic of Congo. So we're going to learn more about his background, and I'll let him go through all of the details of that. And now, obviously, in Toronto, Canada, alongside with his loving family. He's a distinguished banking and financial regulatory risk subject matter expert. Okay, that right there had me speaking in tongues, just that part right there, right? With over 15 years in expertise. In recognition of his exceptional leadership, he was honored with the 2021 CEO Award, and he's the founder of How Foundation, which is a nonprofit charity organization that strives to unlock potential inside of marginalized people through skills acquisitions. I'm telling you, you're in for a great treat. He's a songwriter, gospel recording artist. There's a lot to this man. And we're so glad to have you here on the Kim Jacobs Show today, Willy. So glad to have you.
Thank you, Kim. What an introduction.
Yes, it sums you up in a nutshell. What I love for people to do is get a chance to hear, because there's a lot of things that you're balancing in that introduction. I would love for you to just take us back and tell us about you and how you became who you are today, if you don't mind.
Thank you so much. Thank you once again for having me. Yes. So I like to introduce myself as a simple man, a father to my two beautiful daughters, Kayla and Shayna. I'm proud really to have them in my life. What else? I'm a follower of Jesus. I love Jesus. I'm a saved, born again. Professionally, I'm into banking and financial industry and technology, focusing on regulatory reporting, all that. But I don't want to dive into that, I guess. Um,
We can
I
dive into
am
whatever you want to dive into that balances your life, and you
correct,
can
correct.
help us as viewers and people tuning in.
Indeed, and I am a gospel singer songwriter. I have an album out there. I do write songs, and recently I've added to my profile authorship. I am an author of When Light Fades Away, Hope Remains, a memoir that really depicts my journey through life. As you said, I was born in the Congo, former Zaire, and I navigated through different period of life. I moved to Rwanda when I was around 13, 14, and then went to Europe, did my studies there, and I'm now currently residing in Canada where I serve. And I am a founder of How Foundation. How stands for Heart of Worship in Action Foundation. So that's
Heart
me.
of worship. Okay,
Heart of Worship in Action. Yeah, Foundation.
that's awesome. Now, when you say you went to the Congo and you were doing studies and things, were you doing this as a young person kind of on your own and going studying abroad type of thing, or were your family members with you? How did that process work?
Yeah, so I was born in the Congo. It was former Zaire when I was born. So it changed name in '97, I believe, when the former president was overthrown. So where do I start? So I was born there, but through conflicts and turmoils, what affected the whole region, culminating with the genocide against the Tutsis that took place in 1994 in Rwanda. The spillover went to Congo, but the country was in turmoil as well. So my family and I moved to Rwanda post genocide, right after the genocide. I was young. I didn't experience it myself during, but I did live the aftermath. The country was completely destroyed. Thank God, is one of the emerging economies around the globe, one of the best in Africa, actually, Rwanda currently. So through that history, I ended up going to Europe, and I went to Europe as a refugee. I did my studies there. So,
Wow.
yes, and long behold, started working and moved to Canada in 2016. Uh,
Right.
which again, I think we will dwell into there, where really my book, my memoir, is talking about. In 2018, I lost my wife very young, and she left me with my two beautiful daughter. And so my story in this book, again, going ahead a little bit, is capturing my life journey, where I was born, how I ended up being where I am today, and the
Wow.
hope that I have experienced, that anything is possible even after going so much. There is so much in us, potentials that we can unlock and be a blessing to the world, but also achieve our personal fulfillment.
Okay, you did the whole hour in like 5 minutes, right? I'm like, Willie, that's a skill, that's a gift right there. It's like, wait, what? This is this is nothing short of almost like it's heartbreaking, heart wrenching, heartwarming, uh, heart touching. It's a lot of heart stuff in what you're saying because as a young person, you have experienced more than most people experience in their entire lifetime. I mean, you were a refugee. You dealt with the overthrowing of a president. So just from, and I know this isn't even about governmental stuff that we're talking about, but tell us, how was it living through those things that some people only read about?
Yeah, sure. So again, I will be referring to what I'm talking about in the book. Hopefully, people can dive into and
Yeah,
study.
let's put the book up for a second. Let's put the book up and tell people how they can get a copy of this book right from the beginning of the broadcast. How can people get a copy?
So the book is published on Amazon. Just go to amazon.com.ca, the extension of your country, and you get a copy there. It's both in hardcover, paper cover, and digital Kindle version. So yeah, go grab your copy, and then we can continue discussing.
Yes. And then also to stay connected, can they get an autograph copy from you?
Yeah, definitely, Kim. I will get one shipped to you.
So not just me, but I'm saying other people. Can they get it if they reach out to you directly?
Yeah, they can. They can. Definitely, they
How do they
can.
go about doing that? Is it through your personal
Goes
information right
through
there?
my personal, be it Instagram, Facebook, but also there's a website of the dedicated to the book. There you can send me a message, and then we will arrange the shipment with an autographed copy.
That's awesome. Okay. Okay. So you all that are podcast listeners too will share his information more throughout the
Yes.
broadcast as well. So tell us again, living through some of those
Yeah.
times.
So the book summarized that. So I was born in Zaire, current DRC, um, in the 80s, and I am what I remember as a young boy. I was born in one of the purest community. That's how I describe, because everyone was a parent to a kid.
Mhm.
I remember we didn't have to lock our houses, right? Because I've never heard of story of any theft or any breaking or breaking the house. It was so pure. We had pure life. I played outside late in the night. I could eat to neighbors. We shared food. I do remember my mother would send me out to neighbors if we lacked anything. She's making dinner and she doesn't have salt or this recipe, just go to the neighbor, grab it, right? So, and as a boy growing up, our culture, we are farmers and cattle herders. So my first assignment was milking cows before I got school, right? So fast forward when I was about um, 10 years, I think, that's when I started seeing things changing, right? Um, the military becoming more brutal,
Mhm.
especially towards my community. And I didn't understand what was happening. There are a few events I count in the book, so I will let the
Yeah,
readers
yeah. You don't want to reveal all of that, right?
reveal that. But then during that period, I was a bit confused, right? Because I knew my community as so pure, loving. Everyone was a parent to a kid. I've never heard of bad stories, but suddenly things change, right?
Mhm.
People are being imprisoned, including my uncles, my brothers. We hear people being killed, and then there are rumors of, the war is going to start. But and there is this campaign against the community I am from, the Tutsis of Congo, because again we have that how do you call it, connection with Tutsis in Rwanda. We speak the same language, we have the same culture. There is this massacre going on, genocide in Rwanda, and the government of Mobutu is helping
Mhm.
the then government of Rwanda that was committing genocide. So the impact and the effect of that is spilling over, and my community is under threat, right? The
Right.
genocide happens. I'm still young. I'm around 12, 13, but I don't
Mhm.
know what's really happening on the other side of the border. But we hear stories on radio. Many people have killed. At the same time, young people from my community are joining the struggle to stop the genocide, right? Which
Mhm.
eventually was stopped by the Rwandan Front, Patriotic Front, in 1994. So, because of that, Zaire became unstable and unsecure. There's a mass migration of my people to Rwanda. And in Rwanda, even though the country was completely destroyed, over 1 million people killed,
That is
because of who
crazy.
they are. It's crazy. We are welcomed. We feel home, right? We are not anymore kind of persecuted. So I start making sense of life when we are in Rwanda. But I have this background where I thought we were safe. We had the best community, and then we are kind of, hunted, so to say, and in this new country destroyed, but the government and the leadership is inspiring hope, right? So I started making sense of life really when I was in Rwanda, but the reality of life wasn't as anyone would wish to, because you have survivors, you have those who committed the genocide. And
So,
again, I don't want to go into the politics and the
right, right. But the
governance
point is
around.
this intentional destruction, basically, of
Exactly.
all of these mass numbers of people were happening right around you, even though
Exactly.
it was almost like you were in a movie, probably because you're able to go to a neighbor, ask for salt, pepper, basic things. And so the close knit culture that you grew up in was being
Completely
constantly
destroyed. Yeah.
attacked.
Yeah, yeah. And unfortunately, that's what is still happening. If you look again for the West, and especially North American people, we don't get to appreciate what is really happening on the ground. We
Mhm.
consume what the media tells us, and I'm sorry to say so, but the media is really biased, because again they have a line to operate in. They don't tell the story. They don't hear people like us who have experienced what we know and what is happening on the ground. Back in Eastern Congo, the same massacre is happening. My people, if I were to go there right now, the chances are I would either be uh, killed or imprisoned, simply because of who I am. Yeah, yeah,
Wow.
villages have been destroyed, uh, things have been plundered, and the army is definitely working with the killers to just eradicate. There is campaign, media campaign, saying that the Tutsis of Congo have to be killed. For what reason? Ask me, I don't know. So that is an ongoing conflict. Fast forward, I
Wow.
am in the Netherlands, in Europe. So I talk about how I ended up there, how I continued my studies, how I started my professional career, and how I met my late wife, and how life went through highs and lows again. Uh, but in all, cemented by love and by hope and by values that we both uh, had acquired through our upbringing, really kind of helped us to navigate through what we went through. And after she passed away, I know you will have many questions there.
Yes,
I
yes.
survived the loss, and what I think really life is all about, because it's a summation of experiences, unfortunately bad and good, but all makes the whole package we call life.
Wow. Okay. This has been already, like I said, a very robust discussion because you're here to talk about your own journey. When you were talking, it reminded me actually of growing up in the projects in very different scenario than what you just painted the picture of. But what was happening in our community was a sense of community as well, even though it was we were impoverished and low income. Uh, Underserved or whatever the people want to call whatever people want to call it, but in our community, even though we were so-called lacked financial wealth, we had a sense of community. So the same exact thing that you just described, I was able to go to a neighbor's home after school, and all of her 8 or 9 children just merged right in. She fed me lunch and just did everything. And that was Miss Ciola. Miss Ciola was the person back then for me. And then if we were out of something like sugar or butter or whatever, just go down a few doors, knock, or next door and knock and say, my mom sent me. Can I borrow this? And not borrow, because how do you return the sugar
Yeah,
back?
I
But
love.
I would get what I needed and was able to go, and we were able to complete the rice pudding or banana pudding or whatever. So that sense of community does give you hope, since that's kind of what we're talking about. When light fades too, there's something that you have to hold on to from a hope perspective. So we're going to take a commercial break. And first of all, I see some comments coming in. Let's address some of our studio audience members'
Sure.
comments. I see Tanny. Oh, Tanny, thank you so much too. I did. Let me hold on. Tanny Swan Wrights sent me a book, Mama Stories. And so she was a guest on the show recently. And I want to make sure that I thank you for sending me this book, Mama Stories. Is extremely inspiring as well. She said, life as a summation of experience. That is life. I love that. And make sure, Tanny, you stay around and tag some friends, because we're going to hear about his wife and their journey after we take our commercial break. Okay. Let me see. Other Dayron Swan is on too. And he says, when light fades away, hope remains. He's the author of the book 101 Things You Need to Know About Jail. So if you want to definitely, it's some good stuff that this man is telling everybody. We all know somebody that's been in jail or coming out of jail or possibly about to go to jail. You want to get his book as well. Living Through Things People Only Read About. Yes. Surviving intentional destruction is another comment. All right. Y'all keep your comments coming. We'll keep popping them up throughout today's broadcast. We're going to take a quick commercial break and come right back, and you'll hear more from our special guest, Willy Gakunzi. We'll be right back.
Why learn about health when you can experience it? Experience it in beautiful Florida in February 2024. Join us for 3 days of integrative and intensive health and healing education and empowerment with the expertise of the following Healthopedia author, speaker, and facilitators. The world-renowned homeopath and acupuncture physician, Dr. James Marinakis, 4-decade health coach and holistic nutritionist, Dr. Joe D. Bear, and others such as Kimberly Meredith, Dame Doria Cordova, Rex Sykes, Dr. Gary Sanchez, Jamie Kerr, Serena Brown-Travis, and more. Experience daily morning walking and yoga, interactive participation, panel discussions, and more for your own epiphany of health. Get your tickets now.
All right, everyone, we're back here on the Kim Jacobs Show, bringing balance to the world one household at a time, talking with Willy Gakunzi. And we've already heard about his upbringing some, but I'd love to talk about how you ended up getting to Toronto and how life brought you to where you are, especially regarding your marriage.
Thank you. It's so hard to know what to share and what to know.
We're just
So
talking and people are listening in. So
indeed. So as you mentioned in the introduction, so I work in banking and financial technology industry. So I was traveling between countries, doing projects here in North America, both Canada and the US, but still living in Europe. But because of the travels and the workload, so we decided together with my employer that I would relocate to cover what we do here in Canada specifically. So in 2016, I and my family, young family, my youngest was 4 months old. We moved. We were living really our prime life, so to say. We had kind of gone through the stormy road, and we were living what we never dreamed we would ever live, right?
Right.
So we arrived in Toronto April of 2020, 2016. That's when the family came over. I had been traveling back and forth for almost a year, and we lived a happy life. So in between, after we got married, when we started having children, because of many other things that I want the reader to go discover in the book, my wife had stopped her college degree. So when we got here, she resumed because we were stable and we had enough means. We could, so life was going
Good.
the way it should be going, right?
Yeah.
um and in 2018, she graduated. She was doing computer science, software engineering. She graduated on November 7th of 2018. In between, I was doing perfectly well in my career. We were living a life. Suddenly, one day after, so November 7th, 2017, we celebrated her graduation. 3 weeks before, on October 23rd, 24th, we had celebrated our wedding, ninth wedding anniversary. So that was 3 weeks after. The next day, on November 8th, she went to work because she was working at the same time and finishing her degree. She was working in insurance. Um, I got a call around 3:53. I do remember the exact minute, from her colleague that my wife had fainted, and her heart stopped. They tried to resuscitate her, and they've called an ambulance to come and rush her into the hospital. I was in the office at home. Um, I was surprised because that morning, you can imagine, the night before we had celebration. The morning we departed, she went to work. I started working as well. During lunch, we spoke, and we actually had an appointment later on. So we texted saying, "Okay, see you in a few minutes." So I received that call. Um, I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what to say. So I was like, okay, I'm coming. We meet at the hospital. So again, no, without going into details, I did what I had to do. Picked my youngest. She was still at the daycare. Her sister had returned from school. Um, at that time, I had my younger brother was visiting, and my sister-in-law was living with us, as she was a student back then. So I left them with the kids. Said, "Hey, I'm going to see the mom. I don't know what happened. I will let you know." So I went to the hospital. Fast forward, 5 hours later, she was gone. Um, a heartbreaking moment, confusion, total confusion. We were in our prime time, as I said, two young daughters, 2 years and 7. What to do? I don't know. I didn't know what to do. But before I stopped there, on my way to the hospital, I was by myself in the highway driving down Toronto. We lived up north Toronto, and I heard a voice, like someone audible. It's not in my thought. I heard that inaudible voice kind of speaking from the back of my car, and I was asked a very strange question. I was like, what if today was the last day you're going to see your wife? What are you going to do? What are you going to say? How are you going to behave? How about all the plans you have? Um, we were back then talking about um, having a non-for-profit organization to kind of formalize what we used to do, because we were helping people, especially back home, but we wanted to make it our our ministry. How about those? We had written songs. I talked about the songs that we had never recorded. How about all this? So I started conversing with this person, and somehow I had peace that I never will be able to explain how I felt. I knew something was happening, but I was peaceful, calm, and I could talk. So I responded in that conversation by myself. I was listening to a song by Travis Greene. He made a way.
Made
Uh,
a way.
he made a way. So that song was on repeat. You made a way, and so I responded saying, I will, I will move on. I will move on with life. I will be strong. I will honor her, and I will do everything that I know I had planned, or we had planned together, as long as I'm alive. So, yeah,
Wow.
she left, and a lot has happened, and but there was hope, and this hope to me comes from a light that she she discovered, or she lit in my life. So to me, I think we encounter people, be it in our family, in our circle, in our network, and those people are there for a mission. It's either
Yes.
to confirm or affirm who we are or what we ought to do.
Yes.
And to me, my late wife, by the way, her name was Estelle. She's the person who affirmed my purpose, who helped me discover the potential in me. She was the first person who looked into my eyes and say, "You can do it. I know you are able. I'm proud of you."
Whew.
So that is what I call when light seems to fade away,
Hmm.
there is a hope that remains. And when we realize that, it is possible to live even after such heartbreak.
Wow. Yeah. That is such a incredible, inspirational way of looking at your spouse passing away and leaving this earth, with you being now a single dad, basically. And we know that she celebrates you from heaven. Estelle is always going to be with you and with your family, um, watching and cheering. Those are her daughters. So she's going to always be celebrating as one of your cloud of witnesses. What do you say to single dads? There are dads out here. I know personally some dads that their spouses have passed away, and lots of children that they still are raising and trying to keep the legacy of the mom alive, and a lot of different factors included in that. Any words of advice to those that are parents that became single parents by force because of death? Any words of encouragement for people?
Yeah, yeah, I like the way you said it, word of encouragement. I don't want to sound like I have a rule book to follow, right? Um, what kills most, or what really impacts us most, is not necessarily the event itself, what happens to us, but the meaning we attach to what happens to us. So death is devastating. There is no such a thing as a death. Unfortunately, it happens, and it will happen. But knowing and understanding the purpose of life, because life is bigger than death, and life does not stop when the physical existence stops. I believe in life beyond this life, and
Yes.
people do not cease to exist because we don't see them. They live. So I would encourage those who have gone through or who will go through losses. Allow yourself to mourn and to grieve. At the same time, pick up your pieces, build on the memories you've created. And I do believe that because of my faith again, there is no way I can go through what I went through if I didn't have power within to survive. I don't know if I explained myself well. So that means anything we go through, there is a potential inside, and there is that energy or that foundation, that hope. When we turn it on, we will be able to move and continue to live. Grieve.
I'm typing what you're saying because this is, you said, I believe in Jesus Christ, the power within to survive. I don't know if I could have survived without my belief. And you would think you and I are twins, because without this belief factor for me in the hope of knowing that one day I'll go to heaven to reunite with my son and my loved ones, that's what gives me hope, you know? So this
Yes,
is just incredible.
yes, yes, yes. And it is possible to laugh again even after going through what we went through, because again, life expands. Life does not stop because we're hurting. Life expands around the hurt, around the pain, and I think heaven wants us to live again, even those who have left us. And it's not only applicable to death. Any adversity we go through in this life, it hurts, but because of the hope, and hope to me is really that it is possible to me, not general term hope for me. And the reason why I carry on, it's because I know, I am convinced within that it is possible to live again and to continue.
And so, as part of living again, when we come back from this commercial break, part of your living is being a single dad to these beautiful two daughters that you have. And I was able to find two pictures back there, and I'll pop them up after this commercial break. So, we'll be right back, everyone, talking with Willy Kagunski. Gakunzi. Yeah, I got it. Willy, let me just say Willy. We're going to be right back to learn more about Willy and his story right after this commercial break. We'll be right back, everyone. We'll be right back. Let me go take us to commercial. All right, everyone, we're back, and I was gonna get my cloth during the commercial break, and then I sat here and just rubbed my eyes from your story and forgot to get the cloth. But you know what? I'm so grateful that you are transparent and sharing your story of your wife, the beautiful life you all had together, and the meaning that the impact that she had on your life, even while she was here. So as you've transitioned, you became by force pretty much a single dad. And so I would love for you to talk to us from the perspective of being a father and playing, still having to move forward by choosing life. You could have chosen a different outcome, but yet you chose to still be here with your daughters. Talk to us from that
Yeah,
perspective.
that's the hardest question to answer. um so the approach I take to life in general, but specifically to parenting, is to do my best and try to do the right next thing, the next right thing, without looking at beyond what I can do now, right? So making sure I have an undivided attention when my time comes to spend with my two girls. Make sure that I'm open. We talk about anything and about everything. um, when I can't, I tell them I don't know how to do this. Like I do remember when I was doing their hair for the first time, I was like, I don't know, but I'm going to try my best. Let's learn together, right? I have a preteen now. When we talk about teenagers and life in general, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to talk to you from a man's perspective. I think this is what it is. I don't know because I didn't go through this and I don't even know how it should be done. So I think when we don't try to be the solution to everything, but you do the next right thing you can and be intentional, life becomes lighter.
And how do you think your daughters are dealing with the fact that, like, I know I can't even put myself in the shoes of two teenage girls, and their mom is not here on this earth, but it's beyond their control. They cannot do anything about it except for go with dad and the rest of the family that embraces them. What have you observed are the things that can help them, a grieving child, during times like this?
Yeah, it's hard, right? And special, well, they were young. The oldest was 7. She could understand at least. The youngest, she goes by what her sister does, right? So, and kids, they swing. 1 minute they're up there, the next they're down there. And because they don't really make sense of what is happening around them and within them, they don't know how to process their emotions. I think what, at least what I did, and I hope it's helped and it will continue to help them, is to be there and allow them to express themselves the way they feel it. Again, in the book, I included some of the discussions we have, some of the questions they asked me. Um, let me share this one. I do remember one of Mother's Day. They would come and ask me, "It doesn't make sense that we celebrate Mother's Day because our mother is not here, right?" Or say, "It's not fair, Daddy. It's not fair that, sorry, that we don't have our mother here. Why don't we? Why did she go to
Mm,
heaven?" So those are questions I allow them to ask, and I
right.
give them. Sometimes I simply say, "I don't know, but what I know, I'm here, and we can do this. We can try to make sense of what we know. We can bake together, we can go out for a movie, we can enjoy, we can pray," because most of the time, and that is really what I think uh, has helped. uh, every discussion we have, me confused, them confused, me not being able to
Right.
answer their questions, we end up saying, "Okay, let's pray and ask God to visit us the way we are. This is where we are, and who knows what will happen." So there's no formula. I think just being open and allow them to express in their terminology and language does help.
That's really good. And I know and this is not regarding a spouse, but regarding my son that
Mhm,
passed away, we
mhm,
still celebrate his birthday. We just celebrated his birthday recently, bought
mhm,
cupcakes, put candle and sing, and all of us were singing together. So we just infuse, even right now when I sign birthday cards to give to someone or something, I still write my son's name and I
mhm,
just say Gabe in heaven when it that in the exact chronological order of my children. So I'll say Frankie,
Mhm.
Ivan, Gabe in heaven, Jeremiah, Jayla. And so I put all of that in the card, just ways to keep his memory alive in that regard. So I love how you've said, I don't know the answers to everything. There's no formula, but we're
Mhm.
going to just do what we can to honor your mom, to honor my wife. And I'm very inspired by that. Wow. Okay, so you've been mastering a lot of things. Banking, you've been mastering uh, genocide. How in the world you done went through all of this stuff coming from the Congo, being a single father that's now raising two beautiful children, and author being added, and you're a songwriter. Tell us about your songs.
Yeah. So, excuse me. So my father was a pastor, and I've I've been singing all my life. Actually, I think started from Sunday school, but up until um, 2010 or so, 11, I started writing songs. I didn't know I could write songs. So, and this is another thing I think that really made me understand that there are people who will ignite what we didn't know we have. So I
Right.
started writing songs when I met my wife. We were dating back then, and she encouraged me so much. So, but we kept postponing. We're like, okay, we will record them sometime, and then life changes. You become parent, you become responsible, you have a career, it gets busy. Now you have reasons to keep postponing. But when this happened, I did realize that it is possible to depart with all the dreams, with all the plans unfinished, right?
Yeah.
So I made my mind and I said, okay, any project that I think of and I'm able to make it, I will do it regardless if it costs me money, if it costs me more time. I have to make sure I empty myself. What I don't know is when my day is due, right? But I have to make sure my projects, my dreams, what I can do now, I do it. So in 2019, that when I released my first song, which was actually written by Estelle. And then afterwards, I continued releasing. I have, I think, 9 songs out there in a full album. And I'm working on another one, hopefully, to be released soon. So that's a bit my songwriting journey, and yeah, I'm enjoying it.
Well, I have a question. Are you one of those singers that you sing, but you only sing like when you get a chance to have the music under it and everything? Or are you one of those like, just tell me I will belt out a tune in a
No,
heartbeat?
no, I'm the first one. I
Oh,
know where you're going. I know where you're going.
ah, okay.
Let's do that next time. Let's do that next time.
So
My
you like,
voice.
oh, I'm gonna be in the studio. That's what you
Yeah, yeah,
so I'll leave you alone and let you off the hook on that. Okay. That's funny.
yeah.
You know I'll go there, right?
I
But
knew, I knew.
you like, I know this is gonna be one of the questions. She's gonna try to put me on the spot. But what I really am proud of is the fact that you are still getting your thoughts out and putting them into a book, a memoir, in my opinion. And so, what do you want readers to walk away knowing about your book when light fades and hope remains?
Great. Two things. And one is acknowledgement of the facts, adversities, what we go through. Acknowledge those. They're there. Facts are stubborn. They don't change because we have mood. We are moody because we feel sorry and pity. Facts are facts. So, and that is what I'm trying to do in this memoir. I do acknowledge, and I've been really plainly open and vulnerable in all the sense of words. I'm acknowledging facts, what I call facts adversities. But with that, I'm also acknowledging the unwavering conviction, really, that even though those facts are there is hope that remains. Because of that, I dare to move on. I dare to work. I'm a hard worker. You mentioned it. I did receive a CEO award for being an outstanding leader. This book has won an award, author award from my publishing house. So it is possible. Yes, there is this. I've gone through hardship. I've faced adversities of all kinds, but I am convinced that because of the hope that remains, I can dare to do, I can dare to dream again, I can dare to raise my kids with confidence and being proud. I can dare to stand and say, I believe in this, I don't believe in this, I want to do this, I don't want to do this. So, two things really: do acknowledge, look at the facts, see what it is, but don't dwell there. Dig deep down. There is a hope. There is a light that did not dim completely. It did not fade away. It just dimmed. It looked like it's getting darker. But because of that hope, you can ignite your light and dare to move on.
Wow. I'm inspired by everything, because if any person dealing with grief and they read your book, they're going to be able to walk away with some level of hope and inspiration to continue on this journey called life. And so
Definitely.
I encourage everyone to make sure that you get a copy of Hope Remains When Light Fades. And I actually look at it as when even life fades, because
Yeah.
even though it's fading, it's depending upon your belief. I know I hang my soul on being able to live again, but when light fades away, hope remains. You want to get a copy of that book right on Amazon, or you can get your copy directly from this author, Willy Gakunzi, right
Yeah.
here. And he will sign the copy for you. You see, he's on a book tour here recently and signing autographing copies for those that came in to that location, but he'll do that virtually for you. And I'm going to put his contact information up again. Let people know how they can stay connected with you, please.
Sure. You can reach me through, excuse me, through Instagram. My handle is Gak Willy. You can go through Facebook. I am on Twitter as well. It will be the same X. You can go through the page, the website of the book, When Light Fades Away, Hope Remains. You have my contacts there. Feel free, reach out. By the way, I have a book signing event in Ottawa next February, on February 17th. It will be a Saturday. So come many, invite friends. I will have the opportunity to sign many copies there. And I hope one day to cross the border and come have those live events in the US. I will talk to Kim.
Yes, well, we welcome you to come to the US and have a book tour. And I'm sure quite a few people will be in attendance when light fades, hope remains. So you all make sure you stay connected with Willy as well on his social media handles. And I do want to let you all know that we are starting a group training that's taking place on how to start your own virtual show from scratch. I have a couple of seats left. And so if you're interested in joining the training class, it's a small group of individuals, and I work with you all to customize your own show. It can be your own virtual show from scratch. It's a 6-week training, very reasonably priced. And all you have to do is reach out to me, Kim at thebalancedoctor.tv, or you can call me at 704-944-3534. There is an endorsement video right on kimjacobsconsulting.com if you want to see an endorsement video from Dr. Les Brown, and he endorses the program. All right, so if you also are interested in knowing how the Kim Jacobs Show thrives, is from community contributions from members like yourselves. So we don't charge our guests to be a part of this broadcast. So the only way we're able to keep this thing rolling is through your contribution. Take a moment today and pour into the show because it's sponsored technically by you, right? And you can do that at Cash App, $Kim Jacobs Inc., or through PayPal, paypal.me/Kim Jacobs Inc. Today's episode is sponsored by Dr. Jody Bear, and we played her commercial. But I do want you to know that this Healthopedia event is like, it's this big encyclopedia of Healthopedia is what it is. And it's over 42 authors. One of the authors in the book, which I'm proud to announce, is my son, Ivan Jacobs. And so he's the one of, I think he might even be the youngest author in the book. So make sure you all know that drjod.com is where you can learn a lot of information, and let her know the Kim Jacobs Show sent you her way. All right. What are any other comments or thoughts that you want to share with our viewers today, Willie?
One is the time we're living in, right? We are bombarded with all kind of information. Social media, anyone has opinion, anyone can say whatever they think they want to share. But make sure we don't feed ourselves with negativity. Make sure that we keep our hope guarded, and make sure whatever we go through, and I don't want to be the bearer of bad news, things will happen. You will go out and, unplanned things will happen, those that you don't have control over. But as long as you still have breath, there is hope that remains. Please do dare to move forward.
I am grateful that you said that. And in moving forward, you are an example of that by being able to embrace the fact that your wife is no longer physically here. She's a cloud of witnesses. You have your two beautiful offsprings, your daughters, and you're able to still kind of grab hold of all of that and make it work. So I think your words of inspiration throughout today's broadcast has been one that anybody can glean some hope from,
Thank you so much.
So grateful. So, and I see Sandra Rumpf Jackson on, who's the person that referred you to this program. So she said, greetings, Kim Jacobs. Greetings to you. Sandra's Authors Forum. If you're looking to be a part of an anthology, and you can definitely check with Sandra Rumpf Jackson. She is always spearheading some type of book project, and you definitely don't want to miss being connected with her. And let her know Kim Jacobs sent you. I'm ecstatic for you, Willie. You want to have any comment to Sandra?
Sandra is a wonderful person, and so I remember when we first talked, and then after she was like, you know what, I think you need to talk to Kim. I was like, I'm going to connect you right away. So my greetings, Sister Sandra. I miss you. Let's connect again.
And I'm so glad that she did connect us. So thank you, Sandra, for being a master connector.
She's wonderful. She's wonderful.
Yeah, make sure too, one of our episode sponsors is vproducts.store. You have to go to that particular website if you're going to be purchasing the coffee. The coffee is, everybody that's been reaching out to me, they said it's amazing. I mean, like, it's 6 mushroom infused coffee and regular black coffee. Go over to vproducts.store. Don't go to other websites. Go to vproducts.store and get the coffee from there. And then our final episode sponsor is getinsured.solutions. And that's with Samantha Benson. Samantha Benson is a final expense life specialist. And what she does is she helps you be able to keep some of the finances, instead of having to put it all out to burial costs, how to keep some of it as final life expenses back in the family. You want to reach out to her and let her know that Kim Jacobs sent you at 704-499-3616. And the final thing I'll tell you that she is sharing that I think is critically important for self-employed individuals is the ERC, Employee Retention Credit Program, but it's for specifically people that were struggling and trying to keep things abreast during the pandemic. You were able to keep your business going in some capacity. And this website that I'll put here allows you to know that the ERC funding can be complicated, but up to about $26,000 per employee. Has happened through this program that Samantha Benson is working with. And you can learn more about what the Employee Retention Credit Program is and how you may be able to qualify. There's a calculator in here as well to let you know how much you would qualify for as a self-employed individual with 1099 contracted individuals. So that's something that was new to me. I didn't know about that. And so what I'm learning about, I want to always share it with my audience. All right, so I'll put that link here and definitely see if you qualify. Any closing? Hello, Dr. Connie Green, Wisdom Tips from Connie Green. I see you out there. Any closing comment, Willie?
First and foremost, thank you, Kim, for hosting me. Thank you very, very much. Thank you, the audience, those who were with us live and those who will follow us later on in replay. Yeah, we don't take it for granted. We can tell our stories, but if we don't have anyone to listen to our story and maybe be inspired, then our work will be in vain. But thank you for your time. Thank you for tuning in. And thank you for the support you continue to bestow on my sister Kim here. And go grab your copy of When Light Fades Away, Hope Remains. And I will be happy to hear from you, your comments, your feedback. And again, I will repeat myself. Do me a favor, acknowledge what you've gone through, but dig deep inside, grab and pick your pieces and dare to move forward. May God bless you, and happy New Year again, 2024. I hope you will make it a great one.
There you have it, everyone. Have a great day. We'll see you Monday through Friday at 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thank you, Willie, for being so amazing and letting God use you and being a great dad in the midst of these trials and tribulations. God bless you all. Have a great day in the studio audience. Thank you, Mackenzie, backstage, too. Thank you for tuning in to today's episode of The Kim Jacobs Show and for being in the virtual studio audience. Your presence truly does make a difference, and I look forward to you bringing your friends and family to join you in the virtual studio audience Monday through Friday at 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I look forward to seeing you.